Hi, this is Cynthia from reallyclear.com. I'd like to show you today how to embroider wings on cicadas. And this little cicada needs its wings, so let's get started with it. We're going to use embroidery floss. The first thing that I do is create a knot at the bottom of the thread. There are lots of ways to do this, but I do what's called a spit knot. The first thing you do is put a little spit on your finger. You just lick your finger. You can use water from the spigot if you're concerned about spit. And then you take your floss and you cross it over your finger just a little bit. And you push, and then you take your thumb or your middle fingernail and you grab the knot, and it makes a nice big knot, which will catch easily in the knitting, so that's useful. Now, I'm gonna go into the cicada. I could start anywhere on the wing, but I'm gonna start right here so that you see how to do a curve. So I'm going to come up, and where you do the wing doesn't really matter. Like, this wing is a little fatter on the left wing than on the right wing, but this is nature, and so nature is always going to be not exact. So that's the beauty of this project. Okay, I'm gonna come up a little outside of where my blue yarn is, where the wing is, and I'm going to go through. Now that knot came through, so that means I did not catch on a piece of yarn. I caught between the stitches, so let's try again. Okay, that one worked. Now, when you backstitch, you're going forward and then backwards. For the very first stitch, you have to take a bit longer of a stitch than you will in subsequent stitches. So I'm going to go up here because I want my stitches to be about this long. You can eyeball it, you'll get experienced at it after a while. So I'm going up here, and then I'm going to go back a little bit. When I do that, I need to make sure, because my curve goes in this direction, I want the yarn or the thread to be on the outside of the needle. So I'm going in this way. And now I'm going to go up to where I want the next stitch to land, and I'm going back to where I had gone down in the previous stitch. So I'm going to grab a stitch, and I'm not thinking of this as knit stitches. I'm thinking of it as how far do I want to go in the fabric. So that looks a little loose on the left. We're going to tighten that up just a wee bit. Okay. And now we're going to do that. And now I'm going to go ahead and back. This makes a really nice stitch. And notice again, I'm keeping the thread to the outside of the curve. I'm going to go down. And continue my way down. I find that when I'm using thread, because it's thin, if I go in between the stitches, it sometimes gets a bit hidden, and I'll show you. It'll just kind of sink down in between, which is why it's so easy to sew a zipper into knitting. The stitches really sink down and you can't see them at all. Okay, you can still see it, but it's got the potential of sinking down. If I push it with my needle, you can see that it'll do that. So it's not that big of a deal if it does. You can just continue on by moving a little bit to the right or left, which is what I'm about to do here. And I'm going to continue my way around the wing. I'm going to leave a little bit of a body here, so I'm going to go down here. I'll eventually curve over to make sure that I have the body, and then I go around the whole wing. And you can see that the way knitting is, there'll be little kind of jaggedy stitches. Just go to the outside of them. Be sure that you notice that some of these stitches are the legs, so you want to go to the inside of the leg. That's all there is to it. So have good time making your cicada hat, and I will look for you at reallyclear.com.